The wind howled outside my small house, a low, mournful sound that seemed to echo through the very walls. Rain pounded against the windows, a relentless drumbeat as Hurricane Milton made its presence known. At 68 years old, I had lived alone for years, but tonight felt different. Perhaps it was the weight of the storm pressing down on me, or the unsettling isolation that crept into my bones as I prepared to settle in with a book. Just as I was getting comfortable, a loud knock echoed through the darkness, startling me from my thoughts. "Who the hell?" I muttered, my heart racing as I reluctantly made my way to the door. I opened it to find a disheveled man standing there, water dripping from his matted hair. His clothes hung off him like tattered rags, and I could see the fear in his eyes. "Please, I need shelter," he said, his voice trembling. "The storm, it's too much." I hesitated for a moment, but the desperation in his gaze melted my apprehension. "Come in. Get out of the rain." As he stepped inside, a wave of unease washed over me. He was polite enough, but something about his mannerisms felt off. I offered him a warm meal, trying to push aside my discomfort. "Thank you, sir," he said, his eyes darting around the cramped living room as he devoured the food. "You're a good man. Most people wouldn't even look twice at a guy like me." "What's your name?" I asked, attempting to steer the conversation to safer waters. "Chuck," he replied, and a smile crept across his face, one that made me feel slightly uneasy. "I know how people think, you know. I can see it in their eyes, the way they act. I understand them better than they understand themselves." I nodded, unsure how to respond. "That's interesting. What do you mean by that?" "I've seen a lot of darkness in my life," Chuck continued, his voice low and conspiratorial. "You can tell a lot about a person by how they treat the lost." I glanced out the window as the wind screamed, feeling the hairs on the back of my neck stand on end. "Well, I believe in helping where I can. We all need a hand sometimes." Chuck's smile widened, revealing a row of teeth that looked oddly sharp. "Yes, indeed. But sometimes helping can lead to unexpected places." I shifted uncomfortably in my seat. "Right. Well, it's just for the night. The storm should pass by morning." After dinner, we exchanged goodnights, and I settled into bed. The sound of the hurricane raging outside felt almost alive, as if it were trying to claw its way inside. Just as I began to drift off, a noise jolted me awake. The bathroom light flickered on. "Must be Chuck," I thought, groaning as I turned over. I tried to ignore it, but the light turned off, then on again, every half hour like clockwork. Finally, I snapped. "Chuck, are you okay in there?" No response, just the incessant sound of rain and wind outside. I sighed and closed my eyes, praying for sleep. But as the night wore on, the bathroom light kept waking me, and eventually exhaustion took over. I drifted into a restless sleep. The next morning, I woke to a stillness that felt unsettling. The storm had passed, but the clouds hung low and heavy. Rubbing the sleep from my eyes, I glanced around, only to realize something was off. "Chuck?" I called, but the house was eerily silent. I padded into the living room and froze. The blankets he had used were neatly folded, the dishes from last night washed and put away. A chill crept down my spine. Where could he have gone? I walked to the bathroom, desperate for a shower, hoping to wash away the strangeness of the night. As I stepped inside, I froze at the sight before me. In the mirror, a note was taped to the glass. My heart raced as I approached, breath hitching in my throat. "Dear Mr. Terry, thank you for the warm meal and inviting me to stay for a night. It was nice of you. I thought about it carefully overnight, standing in front of your bedroom many times. I just can't do it. You are a good man, Mr. Terry. That is why I decided to pass the kindness and let you go. Your friend, Chuck." My heart pounded in my chest, and I stumbled back, struggling to comprehend the words. Chuck had been standing in front of my bedroom? What did that mean? Bile rose in my throat as the realization sank in. I turned away from the mirror, my mind racing. Was I really safe? I could barely grasp what had happened. The storm had passed, but its aftermath lingered like a shadow in my mind. I packed my bags, heart racing at the thought of what could have happened if the storm had lasted longer, if I hadn't offered that man shelter. As I prepared to leave, a single thought clawed at me. I would never let a stranger into my home again. But even as I drove away, the image of Chuck's twisted smile haunted me, a chilling reminder that sometimes
kindness comes with a terrifying price.